What's up, guys? My name is Brett Culver, PDGA number 199552. This is my 2022 in the bag. I started disc golf in June of 2021, so these are all the discs and things that I've got since then. It's been 7 months since I started. I definitely have too many discs for a beginner, but I just got my PDGA number, and hopefully I'll be planning to play tournaments soon. So I'll be taking you guys along with that on my road to my first tournament. First off, I'm going to start with putters, about what I putt with. So I've got 5 putters that I carry. I'll start with throwing putters. So my main go-to is this Ion R2 from MVP. It was recommended to me from the Nashville Disc Golf store. I like it. It throws a lot like a mid-range. I can throw it pretty flat and it'll stay straight, or I can throw it on hyzer, it'll flip up. Sometimes I can get some turn out of it depending on how hard I throw, but it's a really good approach disc for me to get that soft slide. My putting putters, most of the time I putt with a Conor O'Reilly Faith and a normal Latitude 64 Faith. Right now they're both wet. I haven't dried them off yet from my round this morning. If you haven't checked out that video, I did a mulligan challenge. So if you want to go see that, you can. It'll be out soon, or it may have already come out depending on when you saw this video. So these are my normal putting putters. I picked up at Play It Again Sports these 2 Nomads. It's the James Conrad putters. I picked them up. I like them. They're much more stable, where my Faiths are pretty straight flying. These are much more stable putters. If I putt them softly, I'll most likely get a good fade to the left. Right-handed backhand, of course. Forehand, it'll go to the right. But I mostly do everything backhand. So that's it for putters. On to mid-ranges. I carry 5 mid-ranges as well. So the first one I've got here is the Relay. It's the disc that I got with my PDGA membership. It's got a little turtle on it. It's also an R2 plastic. I can throw it flat and it'll softly turn to the right, and then eventually it will come left. Sharp rim, so it will skip a little bit if I need it to. The second is the Rock 3. So the Rock 3, it is, I think, a little bit more stable version of the Rock, but with the wear I've put on it, it flies pretty straight. This is my normal go-to mid-range. If I don't need anything to go left or right, I just want something to go straight, or I do want it to eventually come left or finish fade normally, I'll throw this one flat to a little bit of anhyzer. That way it'll hold that line and really force the flex on it. Or if I can throw it flat and hard enough, it'll flip up. Or even hyzer, if I throw it really, really hard, it'll flip up to flat and eventually go left as well. This disc does want to go left, but it usually holds whatever angle I throw it towards. So that's my go-to, is the Rock 3. For utility stuff, I've got the Buzz. So the Buzz, for me, is very understable. It was given to me by Hunter Hood. I throw it on hyzer and it always flips up and really wants to turn to the right. So for me, it's very understable, sometimes difficult to control. I've got a couple holes that I know of in the Nashville area that I throw this on specifically, but I only use it for whenever I need something to go right, and I don't need it to go left really at all. I just need it to go right and really finish to the right, or go right and then just kind of finish flat. On to my more stable stuff. We've got the Star Cayman. So the Cayman is a domed finish. It's kind of like a putter feel, but it's a lot faster than a putter and it's more stable. I throw this one more flat, and now that I've used it a little bit, I throw it really flat. It will ride the straight angle and then eventually come left. No matter what, it will finish to the left, but it likes to hold that angle a long time, which is really nice. I really like that about this disc. Last is the most stable disc I have is the Legacy Badger. Super flat, very flat profile. I think it relates to the Anvil. It's a slower version of that, but it's very flat. That's what I saw at this disc golf store, was the flatness of this disc really looked like the Anvil. I can throw it to flat and it'll really shoot to the left hard, or I throw it on hyzer to really, and throw it high and know I'm gonna go left with it. Sometimes I do a force flex where I can throw it as hard as I can anhyzer, and I know this disc is going to come back to the left. Good disc to have whenever you need something to do a really exaggerated fade at the end. So I currently bag 4 fairway discs. I'll start with my most used, which is the MVP Volt. When I first bought it, I couldn't throw it hard enough to flip it up. It was very stable. Now I can throw it at about an 8 speed. I can throw it flat to hyzer. If I throw it on flat, it'll hold that flat line for a very long time, and it'll eventually go left, and I'll usually get a skip out of it. If I throw it on hyzer, I have to throw it really, really hard. It'll flip to flat. It'll be a very late flip and then skip. If I throw it just a little bit of anhyzer or really hard flat, it'll get a nice turn and then straight down with a little bit of skip. So I like this disc. I throw it on a lot of holes. It's probably my most used disc in my bag. I can throw it pretty much just as far as I can any of my distance drivers with just a little bit more control. Obviously, I can throw those a little bit farther when it's wide open, but most courses in Tennessee are wooded or have a wooded aspect to them, so I need something with just a little bit more control when I'm throwing distance shots, and the Volt does that for me. So I really like this disc. Overstable Raptor. I saw Paul Ulibarri throwing this disc a lot, and I found one at Play It Again Sports, and it was pink, and I like to get pink discs because you can't lose them. They're difficult to lose, and they just look cool. It's like the Badger, but faster, so I really can't make it flip up at all. So I really throw this one for shots that I need to make sure it goes to the left or a exaggerated flex line. So I'll throw it super anhyzer and it'll come back. This is also a great forehand disc. So if I want to throw flat to anhyzer forehand, it'll get a lot more spin and really come to the right hard and maybe a skip, or it'll just spike into the ground, which is really cool. Now these things are understable. So I've got 2. I've got the Escape. I found this disc at a course in Nashville. It had no name on it. I posted on the groups and nobody claimed it. So started bagging it. The first time I threw it at its speed. I think it's a 9. Yeah, it's a 9 speed, but this thing is beat up. I threw it at a 9 speed and it flipped and almost turned upside down. So from now on, I throw it pretty much like this. If I throw it like this, it'll flip to flat and it'll just fly perfectly straight. So it has nothing else that it'll do. It'll just fly straight and it'll even land straight. It never comes back to the left, never goes to the right. If I throw it pretty much vertically, maybe a little bit like this if I want a little bit more turn. But the more I put it to level, the more turn I'll get. So sometimes I'll really rip it hard. This is the short range roller disc, or if I really want to cut an understable roller, I can hit it here and it'll really flip over and dog legs to the right. That way I can save my elbow for the forehands. I have some elbow issues and this thing really helps me hit those tight corners. This disc, I don't even know what it is. I still don't know what it is. It doesn't have the name on it anywhere. It's an Ace Race 2017 edition. PJ, my friend, gave it to me. He gave me a few of these discs actually. This disc is my roller disc, my go-to anyways. It's also a good distance driver. I kind of count this one as like a middle in between fairway and distance, because if I throw it on hyzer somewhere in this range, it'll flip the flat, really ride, but kind of go straighter than it will turn. And it'll go straight for a long ways and then softly land because it's got more of a domed edge. And it doesn't ever skip, which is nice, but if I really want it to roll, it'll hit that cut, roll a little bit, and then end up flipping over and falling on its back. So I bag 7 distance drivers is what it looks like. Starting off with the most stable is the Boss. This disc, it seems like all beginners get it because there's just so many of them and it's one of Innova's staples. This is the first disc that I got that was mine. My girlfriend bought it for me because I lost a 13 speed that PJ gave to me, my friend that got me into disc golf. And I wanted a 13 speed because I thought they flew farther. Then I got this one and it was super overstable, could never fly it straight. Now that I've thrown it a lot, thrown so many spike hyzers that it's hit the ground and just really beat the edges up, I can throw this thing flat. It'll actually ride. It may even get a little bit of turn and then really come to a good left finish. It's kind of squishy. I like it. It's sticking with the stable discs. I've got this MVP Photon. It's got a Samurai on it, which is, it's a lot like a Star Destroyer. It's actually, I think, probably the exact same thing as a Star Destroyer, but in MVP's plastic. To Anheuser or Heiser, anything I throw it on, it's going to finish left eventually. Recently, I've been throwing a lot more flat, and it's been holding that line for a while, and then eventually falling left, and it usually always gets a big skip. What I've noticed with all the MVP discs that I have, they all skip, except for the putters, of course, because of the dome, but the sharpness of these edges really make them good skip discs whenever I need that. Next in the stable column is the Star Destroyer. I have two of these that I bag. This one's the more stable version. It's got the Star Wars Star Destroyer stamped on it, or stamped around. PJ did this one for me. He's the one that he gave me this disc as well. It's very stable. I can throw it flat, it'll finish left. I throw it Anheuser, it'll finish left. No matter what, this disc is gonna go left. It will not turn over. I can't throw it hard enough for it to turn over somehow. I just can't. Next is my flippy Star Destroyer. This thing is flippy. If I throw it flat, it'll really turn over too. But I usually throw it on hyzer, it'll flip up, really turn for a while, a long while. If I get enough height, it'll eventually come left, but most of the time, it just wants to turn and turn and turn and turn until it lands. This is a great disc for long distance shots whenever I need something to really give that S-curve or slow arching shots to the right. I really like this one. Next one I've got is the Discraft Surge. It's got a stamp for the 4th annual Young Life. I was playing one day and a guy found it in the woods. I called the number on the back, no answer. So I've just been keeping it and throwing it, and nobody's ever wanted it back. So right now I bag it and I like it. So this one is a little bit, I think it's actually the same speed, maybe one lower than the Star Destroyer. But I throw it on hyzer, it'll flip up and ride and come left as well, but a little bit slower. It doesn't go as far. Next is the Star Mamba. I do not throw this disc much. Super duper understable. If I throw it Anheuser, it might flip over into a roller. Whatever I do, if I throw it hard enough, it will roll. I think if I need a roller disc, this will be my roller disc. I just don't throw many rollers, but if I ever decide I need to throw a roller for a shot, this is the disc I'm going to go with, most likely. I just keep it in my bag for that off chance I will need a roller. But I don't really throw this one at all. I have no real use for it. The last disc is the Tenacity by Axiom disc. All these discs, I love this double plastic kind of situation. This one also had a cool look to it. It is a 13 or 14 speed, minus 2.5 turn. This thing is understable, very understable. I can put it on hyzer. This is the one that I get my most distance out of. Hyzer to flat, it'll turn and eventually come left, but it will really hold that turn for a while. So what I usually do is either flat to nose down, throw it really high on that angle, it'll flip up and ride, turn really far, and eventually come back this way when it loses speed. Anyways, that's all for the discs part of the bag. Now we'll get into a little bit of the accessories that I carry along with me. First, I bought this brush. So this brush is used for when I get dirt on my disc, I just can kind of scrub it off on both sides and clean up the disc just a little bit. And if I have any nicks or cuts on the disc, it'll rub those out a little bit better, get rid of them. But I don't know, I bought it a few days ago and I've liked it so far because I get a lot of mud on my disc and it dries off pretty quickly. I also bought 2 golf towels. This is a microfiber gray towel and this is just a black ball golf towel, but they work really well for drying off my disc. I also have 2 minis. So this one is a MVP something, I don't know, some Cosmic Neutron plastic I found at the disc golf store. And this is a Judge from Dynamic Disc. Just 2 mini putters, like $4 and $6 each. This right here I got for Christmas. And it is a mini disc made out of wax. And what it's supposed to do is you're supposed to stick it on your hands, so when your hands are sweaty or wet, it helps keep your hands a little bit dry, gives you a little bit more grip on the disc. So haven't used it yet. I'm sure I'll use it once it gets towards the summertime. I need it a little bit more. I got the Bushnell disc jockey speaker. Got it for Christmas. It's great. Plays music really well. I haven't figured out how to actually do the range thing, so I clicked the button that it told me to, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know where the box is either, so I really don't know. But it plays music really well, and that's all I really need it for. The last two things I carry is a Sharpie in case of the off chance I somehow one day get an ace. I'll get the witnesses to sign my disc, so that would be cool. And I also got this for Christmas as well. It is a rechargeable hand warmer. So this thing is amazing. I just turn it on and it warms up and keeps my hands nice and warm, which, man, I don't know what I would have done without this. I'd have to buy hand warmers. That's what I have to do. But now I don't have to buy any. I just can recharge it and it lasts at least a round or two. So that's great. So all those go in my top pocket. I haven't filled up all my pockets yet. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I keep my wallet and keys in the side pockets or sometimes in the top pocket depending on the course, or my snacks in the sides as well. This side doesn't have anything in it. This side, okay, I've got my disc catcher. So it's a 6 foot long pole, got a little hook on the end, so if I get a disc stuck in a tree or in the water, I can scoop it out, kind of rake it out. And then I've got some disc golf basket spikes that hold my personal basket in the ground. I bought one that way I could practice putting, but since I live in an apartment, it's very difficult. Last thing is I use the Dynamic Disc Paratrooper bag. I've liked it. I got it for Christmas, so I've been using it for about a month now. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. You can go to my channel and you can see more videos. I'm going to start posting at least once a week, something disc golf related. I've got a video coming up for some mulligan challenges, part 1 and part 2, and then I'll also do some things where I'm doing different rounds, different challenges, different things, trying to get better, some field work, all the things that beginners do. So if you enjoyed, thanks for watching. See you guys later.